Video 2, Skyrim. Okay, mechanics of the game work very well. You're able to move your character fairly easily. The controls are pretty easy to learn, and they're pretty simple. There's a couple of menus that you can break out in the middle of battle that kind of pause the game for you. Like if you have low health, you can go to this heading menu that lets you go to your items or to your magic or to the map, things like that. And you can go to your items, and if you're low health, you can use a potion, things like that. So like the mechanics of the game work very well. It is all well done, well put together. It's just amazing. The storyline, I love the storyline. The main storyline I think is pretty well done, and it follows the Elder Scrolls kind of game series going on there. So I'm excited for what they're coming out with next, and we'll see what happens. I guess they're supposed to come out with something else soon, but it's cool. And I think Skyrim is probably their best game when it comes to storyline, quests, graphics, all of it. But the scene transitions are good when it comes to like in the middle of a quest when there's a cinematic break. They don't change the graphics for that at all. It just kind of stays where you're at, and you're talking and having a conversation with somebody. And in conversations, you get to choose what you say. So there's like multiple answers. Some answer might be a little bit more sassy, one's more direct, one's beating around the bush a little bit. You kind of get to choose and define how your character talks to different people in the game. From the beginning of the game, basically, as I stated before, you're able to do whatever you want once you get out of that little cave. But if you follow the main storyline, you're going to go to this city called Whiterun and talk to a dude there who's like the Jarl, or kind of the king of the city. And you're going to tell him that a dragon attacked, and he's going to freak out. And anyways, going on, you're going to get called or summoned by these guys called the Greybeards. There's these old guys that live on top of a mountain that speak the dragon language, and you're going to learn some things from them, and they're going to have some tasks for you to perform. You're going to meet these people that call themselves the Blades. They're an ancient group of people that slaughtered the dragons previously. And basically you're going to get the important leaders of Skyrim together and talk about how we're going to defeat Alduin, which is the bad guy dragon that is resurrecting all these dragons back. And so at the very end, or close to the end, you're going to learn this dragon shout called Dragon Rend, which is created by people, not dragons, and it was meant to help slay the dragons and kind of get rid of all of them. So you learn that so that you can defeat Alduin, and then you go up to what's the city in the clouds called? What's it called? Sovngarde. It's kind of like heaven for the Nordics. And so you go up there to Sovngarde, the heaven place, and you fight Alduin there, which I think is pretty cool. The graphics in that scene and in that fight, pretty cool. You're up in the clouds, you're fighting this dragon. It's beautifully done. And so you defeat him, and then you're able to go to Sovngarde whenever you want, and you're given a seat there, basically saying you're welcome to come to our heaven because you saved the world. So going into cinematics, there's not really a difference from the gameplay to cinematics. Sorry, there's not a difference. They don't change the graphics for any of that at all. It's good. It could be better. There's some times where cinematics glitch, or where you're talking to a person about some quest, and then another person comes in and totally interrupts, or like walks in front of you and starts talking. Sometimes that can be a little bit annoying. I'll give you an example of the cinematics that I think are perfect. Would be God of War, where you can't tell at all between gameplay and the cinematic. Like you'll be playing and then all of a sudden like stuff's happening and you don't have any control anymore, and you're like, whoa, this is a cinematic, like this is a video basically. And Skyrim is kind of like that, but at the same time it's not, because like of the glitches, and you have the option to kind of talk to people, so it could be better. The in-game graphics, especially for it coming out in 2011, are incredible. And especially for as big as a game as it is. I mean, if you've ever played it, I challenge you to play it because it's an awesome game. But I assume that you probably have heard of it or seen things about it. It's beautiful. And so for as big as a game, with as big as a map, and how many quests and characters and things that are in the game, the graphics are incredible. They did not waste money on any of that when it comes to graphics. They definitely did a very, very good job. When it comes to sound, the soundtrack is phenomenal. Like, you open up the game and it's this like chorus line singing about the Dovahkiin, which is the Dragonborn. That's who you are, and it just pumps you up to play the game. The in-game sounds when it comes to fighting, magic, opening chests, taking your sword out, casting spells, speaking to people, is all very well put together and done. You can totally tell though that they used probably like 5 or 6 people to do all the voices for everybody, especially one of the dudes. He has this like Nordic almost accent, like he's from Sweden or something, but you can totally tell because they use his voice over and over and over again, which I don't care, that's fine, but you can kind of tell. But other than that, all the in-game sounds are very clean, very well done. So there's that. Characters, I talked to you at the beginning. Your character, you choose its race, and then you kind of build what it looks like, and what you specialize in, and how your character progresses. That's completely up to you 100%. But as for characters in the rest of the game, you have characters that matter and characters that don't, and that's kind of the 2 categories that I have for the game. There's characters that are going to give you quests, going to give you gold, going to give you the ability to perform quests and you get loot and things. And then you have characters that you go up and try and talk to them, and they're like, why are you bothering me? And so like those characters don't matter. But almost any character in the game can die, and so like if a dragon attacks or you're near some bad guys and there's important characters nearby, like they can die, and that can mess up your game. And so that's kind of a con that I would say, and we're going straight into cons now. The main con that I would say is the glitchiness of the game, and they've done a lot to improve it, but there's still times where you'll be playing and the game will freeze or crash, or you'll talk to somebody. I have this problem where I'll talk to somebody, I'll get my quest, and then it will not show up on the map, or it'll show up in a different place than it's supposed to. At least on the PC version, I'm having this problem. I don't think I've had this problem on the console at all. And it's interesting to see kind of some of the differences between the console and the PC versions of this game. But yeah, I've kind of had some of those problems. The dungeons and the setup of the dungeons sometimes are pretty repetitive. And the puzzles in the game, so like especially the main storyline in the dungeons, there's always like some puzzles for you to get to like the next room or to the next part of the dungeon. Those are all pretty much the same. And so I would say that the game makers could have probably spent some more time focusing on making like either more in-depth puzzles or choosing different things to do. Moving on to pros, though, because there's not many cons. Best game I've ever played. Graphics are on point. They're wonderful. The storyline is incredible, especially with the amount of quests, the amount of locations, and how big the map is. It's just, it never gets old. You're never going to run out of things to do unless you go and finish every single quest to its entirety, which I have yet to do. There's always new things that I find out that I'm able to do in the game. My dad played this game a lot, and I think he's been able to finish every single quest before, but I mean, it's not an easy feat to do that. The progression, I love the progression of the game, especially the progression of your character when it comes to leveling up and choosing kind of what your character is going to be good at when it comes to combat skills, or when it comes to the ability to choose whether you're going to be an alchemist or like you're going to be good at making potions, things like that. I love the leveling up system. Is just fantastic. In the open world setting, you get to do whatever you want when you want, and so like most of the time when you first start the game, you're not going to go and start the main quest right away. You're going to go and look around and find things and level yourself up, get good armor and get good weapons and things like that, so that you can enjoy the main quest without having to worry about all of that. So in conclusion, this game is very, very, very extensive. I could talk about it for hours, but I won't. And that's why I like it, because it'll never get old. I mean, this will be a game that I share with my children, hands down, when they're old enough. But hands down, I'll share this with them because it's just fun and it never gets old. There's always things that you can do. Societal effects of the game. This game is pretty addictive. In my opinion, it's pretty addictive. I could start playing the game at like 10 o'clock in the morning and not stop until like 10 at night if I wanted to. Like, that's how addictive it is. So like, if you're getting like a kid who's got like school, or like, he's got chores to do, or an adult with a job, I'm sure there could be societal effects when it comes to like if they're spending more time playing this game than spending time with their family, or if they're spending more time on the game than they should, and then they're slacking on their schoolwork. I've done that. I think that's probably the main societal effect you're going to see with this game, is that you can get really into it and forget what time it is, and then just keep playing and keep playing and keep playing, and then look, oh, I played for 12 freaking hours. So that's probably the one societal effect I'd see. Otherwise, I mean, it's not super gory, super bloody. There's not nudity. There's not a lot of profane language. I mean, people call you bastards sometimes, and I think they use ass, but that's it. Like, those are the only bad words I think the game has. So other than that, this game is a 10 out of 10. I would definitely suggest you go out and play it if you haven't, or go look into playing it. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed my game review on Skyrim. Thank you.